It is Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. Today's show is presented by our friends at Manscaped. You can get 20% off at checkout at manscaped.com with the promo code Seahawks. You'll also get free shipping as well when you use the promo code. We'll tell you more about what Manscaped is doing coming up later on in the show. Today's edition of Seahawks Today, we are focusing on cut candidates. Who could the Seahawks potentially move on from? We'll also be looking at restructure options as well. Maybe you don't necessarily want to get rid of a guy, but you need to make your money work for you, as Dave Ramsey would say. And so we'll see what the Seahawks can do to kind of adjust their books a little bit, kind of cook the books. We'll get to that here in just a moment. Before we do, a little survey as we get the show started. If you've been a Seahawks fan for 5 years or more, go ahead and like today's video. If you have not, if you've been a Seahawks fan for less than that, maybe you're not even a Seahawks fan at all, comment and tell me how long you've been a Seahawks fan or why you're not a Seahawks fan. Whatever it may be. Just a little survey out there, and we'll get going to begin today's show. So I have 5 names that we are going to get to today on the cut and the restructure possibilities for the Seattle Seahawks. And where we will begin today, this one's going to be a little eye-popping. I probably got you to click on the video with this one, which was my job, so don't crush me for that. But hear me out on this. Quandre Diggs. I'm not saying cut him, though. I'm saying restructure Quandre Diggs. Look, Quandre is still one of the best safeties in the National Football League. He's playing at a high level. The Seahawks have one of the best safety rooms in the entire NFL. With Quandre Diggs on one side, Jamal Adams is there, Julian Love, part of the equation now. But even with that said, the money doesn't look too great in Quandre Diggs' situation. Listen to this. Quandre Diggs is owed $13.49 million this upcoming season. $18.1 million goes against the cap. That's a lot of money for Quandre Diggs. Whatever you can do. I think I want Quandre around for a while. I'm willing to give him an extension and kind of sort out that money of sorts to make sure that he could be here for a long time, and so you also don't have to count $18 million towards the cap as far as I'm concerned, because that is just a lot of moolah there. I think it needs some adjusting. You want Quandre, but you don't want to take an $18 million cap hit. You can have, as Hannah Montana would say, the best of both worlds. More names to get to here in just a second. Before we do, summer's coming. Summer Jones is almost here, right? Are you ready to unveil your beach pod? Manscaped is here to ensure your body is ready for the wild with their game-changing full-body grooming and hygiene products. Don't be the guy at the beach with Austin Powers chest hair if you grew some winter man tits. The least you can do is make sure they're hairless. It's time to get ready for hot guy summer by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code Seahawks. Now, you may be wondering, what are we offering this go-round? Well, that's where I come in. Manscaped is dedicated to helping you increase your confidence and level up your full body grooming game with the Performance Package 4.0. The kit comes with the Essential Lawnmower 4.0. We also have the Crop Preserver. We also have the Crop Reviver, as well as the Weed Whacker 2.0, and more. These tools are incredible, so you can start looking better and clean up where you need to be cleaned up. That way you can be looking your best come summertime. Because summertime, folks, is a time to thrive. Do it with Manscaped. Get 20% off plus free shipping with code Seahawks at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping. Code Manscaped at manscaped.com. Trim your chesties with the besties at manscaped.com. Promo code Seahawks for more. All right, so we mentioned Quandre Diggs there. Now let's talk about Bryan Mone at the nose tackle position. Now, Bryan Mone it's been unfortunate for him, right? Suffered a torn ACL injury in Week 15. The last update that we got about his situation was that his surgery was difficult. I don't know what that means of if he is going to be back when the season begins or how his recovery time is going, but that's not what I want to hear. If you move on from him, you can save over $3 million against the cap potentially. You've already drafted Cam Young out of Mississippi State as well in the 4th round. You might have your replacement there potentially in Cameron Young with that selection. So, Bryan Mone, one of those deals is not personal, but it might just be business here. If you're not going to play, do you want to pay him and have that 3.18 count against the cap? I don't know necessarily. And even if he does play, is he going to look like the same guy he did previously with coming off that ACL injury? A lot of questions. Name a player the Seahawks should cut. Now's your chance to be a little difficult here. Put on your GM hat. Let me know who should the Seahawks move on from. Tell us in the comment section below. Next up on our list, that's where we find Will Dissly at the tight end position. And kind of like we talked about with Quandre Diggs, this might be more of a restructure when it comes to Will Dissly. But the truth of the matter is, where the Seahawks are at, they're not going to pay Noah Fant and Will Dissly. And both those guys, their contracts come up in the next couple of years. So you're going to have decisions to make because you're going to want to upgrade that position. Maybe you compromise with Will Dissly and say, hey, look, you're owed $5.6 million. You got nearly $12 million going against the cap here. Can we adjust that money where, hey, we're willing to go ahead and keep you, but you got to take less money or we got to push some money back to later on down the line here? Because Will Dissly, although he's a good tight end, he's not a great tight end. I think we can all say, and this is not disrespectful, we're just being fair, Will Dissly's not worth $12 million against the cap. He's worth keeping around, but you got to adjust that money a bit. That's too much of a penalty for the Seahawks to be taking on as far as that goes. So, there's Will Dissly. Got 2 more names to get to. Let's talk Dee Eskridge now. And this one, here's where it's hard, I think, for Seahawk fans with the Dee Eskridge front, is he hasn't been here that long. And yet there's not really a whole lot to show for it when it comes to Dee Eskridge. Just 2021, he was a 2nd-round pick. But with the injuries he's dealt with other guys stepping up on the depth charts, he's never even started a game at receiver for the Seahawks. He's never been a starting receiver. Now, he doesn't cost you that much. Owed $1.2 million this upcoming year. Cap hit $1.62 million. Cap savings of $1.2 million. I mean, are you better served with somebody else holding that roster spot than Dee Eskridge? I mean, camp hasn't even started yet. We already know he's behind Jackson Smith and Jigba. That JSN's going to be your number 3 receiver. D had every opportunity to be that number 3 guy, could never step up. The injury issues just hasn't really been the guy he was built up to be. Are you better served giving that roster spot to somebody else? That's a realistic question the Seahawks could be asking themselves. The contract situation's not bad, but it's, are you better off using that roster spot with somebody else out there? That's a question the Seahawks have to ask themselves. Name a player the Seahawks should keep. Who is somebody that we've talked about today that you think, okay, maybe, you know what, the Seahawks actually should keep that guy around? Tell me what you think. Who is somebody the Seahawks should keep? Let us know in the comment section below. One more name to get to. That is Alton Robinson at the outside linebacker position. Now, Alton Robinson, I think there was a lot of optimism about him at one point in time. But now, look at where the Seahawks are at. They're not needing Alton Robinson. I mean, he has continued to slide down the depth chart at this point. Did not play at all last year with a knee injury. He's now a 3rd string outside linebacker for Seattle in the scheme they're playing. He's only started 3 games. The money situation, kind of like what we talked about with Dee Eskridge, doesn't cost you a whole lot. He's owed just $1.01 million this season. Cap savings is the same number. It's not a matter of if you can afford him or not. It's a matter of, are you better served, are you better off using that roster spot in somebody else? And based on the sample size that they've seen and the lack of availability without Alton Robinson, it might be worth just saying, you know what, cut your losses and move on with Alton Robinson. I'm seeing one of the commenters already saying, I kind of forgot about Alton Robinson already. I understand why you have. So there you have it. Those are our names that we have for you on our possible cut and restructures. Quandre Diggs, Bryan Mone, Will Dissly, Dee Eskridge, and Alton Robinson. What do you guys think as far as those guys go? Of those potential options of the Seahawks moving on from those 5 guys or restructuring, whatever they may. Very curious what you guys think. How would you grade the Seahawks roster at this point? I think it's pretty good. I'm very excited about 2023, if you couldn't already tell. Grade it for me in the comment section. A, B, C, D, or F. What do you think of the Seahawks roster heading into 2023? Let me know. Hit me up on social media, the Twitter, as well as Instagram, Facebook, at Tyler Jones Live. You can find me there. I shall see you next time, right here on Seahawks Today.